Hello, everyone. Welcome back again to Avalos Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies, because that's what we do here. Everything tech, from cloud native technologies to Nexus technologies. I already explained the concept of Nexus, which is really interesting. It is related to binding together, to connecting together. And cloud technologies is basically cloud native technology is basically best practices of some technologies like microservices, right? And what is microservices? Microservices is a lot of stuff: containers, Kubernetes, and a lot of different things. Public cloud. So in the previous videos, you can hear about these concepts, and we are gonna be posting a lot more. So today's topic, we are going to introduce you to Linux. You probably know him already. He's the So what is running out there? Most systems out there, most servers and applications are running open source. And Linus, he was one of the pioneers of open source freedom when it comes to technology, and giving basically tools to people to work with whatever they want, right? I'm actually surprised I didn't know he was born in Finland, or maybe I read it before, but I forgot about it. So why are we talking about him today? He's more famous. He's just like Bill Gates. He's just like the owner of Facebook, right? Or Elon Musk. He's one of those guys. And I'm surprised that he's not rich as they are, because most of the staff, most of companies wouldn't be there without him. He was the one who actually make everything open source, because companies were like Microsoft, for example, right? The code, you cannot see the code, you don't know what's happening with the code. So he says we're gonna do things like where people can see the code, and also they can use the code in whatever they want. An application, a new operating system. You can have your own operating system, your own version or distribution of Linux if you want to. I actually did something like that a few years ago. I was like, I don't know, 23 years old, and I was trying to I actually did make my own OS version for Linux distribution. So the reason why we are talking about Linux today is because he was the founder or the creator of Git. And what is Git? So basically, Git is a system for version control. And you may ask yourself, version control for what? Well, it could be for anything. So from you putting your resume in a place, and maybe you added a new skills. Now you need to have a version control of your previous resume or previous cover letter, right? And then you made a new version because you started a new job for 2-3 days, a month, or a year. You modify, you added that experience to your cover letter or to your resume, and then you decide to have version control of what was there before, what is now, and how can you share that with others. So in 2005, I think, is when Linux started creating this version control system called Git, right? And then after that, for developers, American developers, I'm gonna show the names over here: Tom Preston and Chris Wanstrath, PJ Hay, I think it is, and Scott Chacon. Wow, he have a Spanish last name. Interesting. So so what happened with these four people? They got Git from Linux, right? And they decided to make this version control system like social media. They brought this to a web page with a graphical user interface, or a GUI, graphical user interface. And they ended up selling this to Microsoft in 2018 for $7.5 million. No, billion dollars. Wow. So they took something from Linux, they made it, no, they made it friendly, user friendly, right? And then everyone started using this repository, to storage code or anything. Look at, for example, himself here, Scott Chacon. This is basically his front page. Could be his. I'm already here on GitHub, right? This is what they did. So Git was made by Linux and GitHub by these 4 different developers: Tom, Chris, PA, and Scott. And they just made it user friendly. They just made it beautiful. Not even that beautiful, because it's not like it's super like colorful. It's nothing fancy in here. It's not like this web page is made with React. It's like, a lot of colors and all that. Simple. So basically behind this is the user interface, right? Graphical user interface. But behind this, there's a backend, right? There is servers that storage the code that people save in here. The reason why this repository got so much value is because it was having more than 100 million people, like 100 code, like repositories for people like saving their codes in here. So Microsoft came to them and they made an offer. For $7.5 billion. And I was reading the history, and it says here that in 2012, they raised like $100 million. So they were still like so low, not a lot of money, like under 100 millions. And then 6 years after, only 6 years, they went from less than $100 million, right, to 7.5 billions. I see that Scott Chacon now, he lives in German. He's learning other languages, and he's learning Rus. As you can see, his new language. I mean, he got money, he got time. He's not worried. But what is interesting is that he's still working, just like everyone else. He's still chasing. He's still dreaming. He's still innovating. And just because he had money, he didn't stop. His passion is just who he is, and that made things really interesting. So why people is using Git? Is that Git the only option right there out there? No, there is millions. There's a lot of different sites. I don't know if millions, but there is a lot of different sites out there that are actually made to be repositories for people to storage their code in their system, right? Why do you need this? Well, what happened if your computer crashed and you were having your code in there? What happened if you lose access to your email account and you were having your code in there? What happened if you lose access to I don't know, Dropbox or any OneDrive? They're not made to be. First of all, they're not for repositories. They have a function. One is for storage, the other one is for email. But these systems are actually made for you to collaborate with other people and to share your code. One of the main concepts that a lot of people use is called forking. So let's say that let's find any code in here. I'm gonna go into let me go get hot in here. I got this one here. This is a good one, a good example. So as you can see here, I'm in GitHub. This was developed by the 4 guys that we were talking about that raised money and then they sold it for $7.5 billion. So what happened in here? Right now, I'm seeing a code, okay, from the hyperledger. What is hyperledger? Hyperledger is a framework for centralized blockchains, not decentralized, centralized blockchains, okay? Which is the future. A lot of companies, enterprises out there will be deploying centralized blockchains for a lot of things. We already spoke about blockchains. Blockchains are peer-to-peer networks, right, with a ledger or a database that keep the transactions. Why blockchain have so much value? Because anything that happens in the blockchain stays in a database, and that's tamper resistant. It's not something that you can delete or play with. Once it is stamped on the ledger, it stays there, right? And the process of putting the transaction on the blockchain, there is a lot of encryption back and forth before that even happened, the stamping on the blockchain. And that is the value of blockchain. Okay, we'll talk about that after, right? The truth is that the hyperledger have code samples in here. You can come over here. I'm going to show you. You can click over here, and basically you can copy this link, and you can clone it. It says here clone. Clone is the same thing as forking. So you can fork the code, and then you can customize it your own way if you want to edit it and add something, or you can just pull it to your computer, or you can just share that with someone else. You can do whatever you want. The truth is that that's the concept. So let's say that, let me sign in here. I haven't been here in a while. I have my account, and I remember that I have a few different repositories in here. Let me go into my profile right here. So I have a few different examples. So I have one for smart contracts. I was trying to make a banking account, something like that, last year. So the truth is, like I say, I got my code over here for my bank, right? I got the front end and the whole script of the code, explain everything. So I can come over here, I can clone it, I can pull this to my computer, play with, and submit it again through the CLI or the command line interface from Linux or the terminal, right? So anyone can come over here, use the same code, fork it, clone it, play with, modify it, submit it to their own repositories. Or maybe we are collaborating together, and then what we do, we merge the code of what you did, what I did, and the system will have control or version control of the changes, the change that you did or what I did. And then we can keep track of what's happening with the code, who submitted, when, what time, everything. You will see everything. So that is the concept and the history of GitHub. So this is something that you will be using a lot. Of course, there is a lot of competitors like GitLab. GitLab is from Microsoft too as well. And I have a separate section for that too. So the truth is that I will be teaching everything from the beginning. And we're gonna start with Git. We're gonna start with Linux. We're gonna start with GitLab, and then I'm gonna build your skills all the way up to be 100% a cloud native person, and maybe a programmer. Like I'm not a programmer myself. I don't even know sometimes. There is so many things that I can do, but I have an idea of, or I kind of want to become a programmer, but for only two different programming language. That is Go and Rust. Why? Because it's on demand. They pay really well. They use it for cybersecurity. Rust, for example, Golang is being used a lot for many different things, especially for on the blockchain part too, for blockchain technologies, especially Hyperledger. They use Go and Rust because it's used in the Solana network. I'm a fan of the Solana network, and also it's being used for cybersecurity application and much more. So what do we speak today? We were talking about Git, invented or created by Linux. GitHub, for people, they took the Git version control from Linux, they made it beautiful. We spoke a little bit about blockchain, a little bit about smart contracts applications, like this banking account that I was trying to do, to put it. I did a test on one of the Ethereum blockchains last year. Oh, actually, it says 2 years ago, but that's not my time. We spoke also about forking, merging the code, collaborating together, back end, front end. And this is how you build your concepts, right? Your terminology, it will just keep increasing and increasing every day. Front end, back end, Git, repository, people's names, creators, innovators, blockchain. We're going to talk about AI in the future. So this video is a short one, but this is just the beginning. This is how you build your skills, by reading, right? By trying. So what you need to do today, you're gonna create an account and GitHub. You're gonna do it today. What would you leave it for another day? Remember, this channel is for personal development. What we can do today, we do it today. What you could do tomorrow, you do it tomorrow. But try to fit everything, and also take a rest. Try to keep that balance between working, studying, family. I know it is really hard. A lot of programmers out there. There is a lot controversy about how programmers they live their life, or people who actually have to be implementing and innovating. There's people who just doing sales. They go, they pick up the phone for 8 hours. They're done for the day. They don't bring work home, right? Unless they're not selling, unless they have the pressure. It's not an easy job either. So every job have their pressure, but some other jobs are super easy. A lot of people get in the comfort zone. I've been there too myself. And trust me that it's not, I experienced that, and it's not really nice. It's not really beautiful. It could be nice to have a good job where you're making between $10,000 to $20,000, but are you truly satisfied if your job is super easy? Are you truly satisfied if your job is like only you coming out with the new ideas? Maybe you're happy to just show up and go home. There is a lot of people like that. Well, in the community where I am right now, and I'm making a few years ago, we love making things happen. We loved coming up with ideas. We love implementing, designing, innovating. We just love to be busy, and to be busy is actually good. It's actually healthy for your mind. I'm telling, and the stuff that I'm talking about is by experience. The moment there is nothing here, which there is always something in there, but the moment I disconnect, right, is when I see that something is happening. It's just also personality, right? Because when you're learning, I feel great. I feel happy. I feel like there is something in here. I have something to look forward. I have something to share. I have something to create. I have something to think about, and that just keep me going, right? Imagine that you have nothing to do. There's a lot of people who have nothing to do sometimes because there is nothing that they can offer. And most like it, those are the people that create a lot of troubles. But that's another topic. We're here about cloud native technologies. We're here for to teach and give you news about everything tech, right? So please do not forget to subscribe to my new channel, right? Please and thank you. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm gonna be teaching Git. How can you use it? How you install it? And all that. There's a specific playlist for Git. There's a specific playlist for GitLab, one for blockchain, one for smart contracts, some of them for programming, which I'm not there yet, but I plan to get there. There is nothing. There is, when you put the time and you have the brain, you have that mindset, there is nothing you cannot learn. At the start, it may look so hard, but the moment you like grab that feeling of the grasp of just learning, you don't want to let it go. And the moment you disconnect, you feel like something is wrong. So don't let that happen to you. And I hope that my videos, they motivate you to keep going and pushing. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.